Senator Scullion.
Madam Acting Deputy President, tonight I rise to provide condolences to the family of the late Kevin James Driscoll OBE, CBE, who passed away on the 27th of February 2016, aged 88. I'd like to talk about Kevin Driscoll's larger-than-life character. He was a hard-working, just an absolute sharp intellect. He was a businessman whose individual contributions to the nation can be tracked not only across this great nation, but across almost every sector of our industry. Born on the 10th of July 1927, Mr Driscoll's childhood certainly remains a bit of a mystery to me. All I know is that he was the son of a Singer sewing machine salesman. Perhaps Kevin learnt a thing or two about business from his dad. In 1955, at age 28, Mr Driscoll went into business and earned his financial stake in the building and construction industry. Specifically, Mr Driscoll's company, National Homes Proprietary Limited, was tasked with building houses in Queensland mining towns. Mr Driscoll worked his way up the building industry and became the founding president of the Queensland Home Builders Association, which later merged with the Queensland Housing Industry Association. In this combined organisation, Mr Driscoll fulfilled the role as president until he was elected national president of the Housing Industry Association in 1966. In 1968, Mr Driscoll's leadership in implementing improved housing standards across the country earned him a life membership of the Australian Housing Industry Association. Mr Driscoll's contribution to the housing industry was then recognised by the federal government, and his expertise was sought to head up the Australian Housing Corporation from 1972. Mr Driscoll's innovative and distinguished contributions to the housing and construction industry led him to being recognised and awarded an Order of the British Empire in 1980 and a Commander of the Order of the British Empire in 1987. Mr Driscoll's knack for making absolutely sound business decisions placed him in very high esteem, and through his membership of the Companies and Securities Advisory Board from 1989 to 1996, Mr Driscoll helped to guide the federal government's business policies of the time. Mr Driscoll held various other board positions over his lifetime, including the Director of the World Expo in 1988, Deputy of the Lang Park Trust, which some people would know as the Suncorp Stadium, from 1991 to 1995. He was an original member of the Queensland Tourist and Travel Corporation and, most commendably, board member of the Prince Charles Hospital Foundation. However, I'd like to personally acknowledge for the record Mr Driscoll's contribution to the nation in my own portfolio space, Indigenous Affairs. In 1998, Mr Driscoll became the chairman of the Business Enterprise Committee of the Indigenous Land Corporation. It was in this role, and as one of the longest-serving directors of the ILC, that Mr Driscoll guided the corporation towards a profitable livestock and pastoral investment. He used to delight in being able to say, because of his personal knowledge in the pastoral industry, I'm taking these particular types of bulls and I'm going to send them out to the ILC properties in different places. Very much a hands-on director, and much of the herd and the infrastructure is there today as a consequence of his involvement. The resulting profits of which are being reinvested into local economies, providing for employment, training and educational opportunity for Indigenous people right across regional and rural Australia. Mr Driscoll's business enterprise and insightful purchase of property led to his own personal wealth creation over this lifetime. Mr Driscoll purchased a total of 7 cattle stations and 8 hotels across Queensland through his lifetime, resulting in many employment and economic development opportunities for the surrounding communities. However, out of all Mr Driscoll's lifetime achievements, I would take a guess that his most cherished is the heart of his wife Thelma, the daughter of another distinguished businessman, Sir Leslie Teese, and their ensuing 4 children. Our thoughts tonight go to Mr Driscoll's family following his recent passing. Mr Driscoll's intellect, his capacity and his drive was an asset to the nation, and he will be remembered. Vale Kevin James Driscoll.